early in his ministry, Jesus is shown being very active. And so yesterday, he's in Capernaum, he's teaching on the Sabbath, he casts out this unclean demon. They leave the synagogue, and he entered Simon's house. Now, for those of you who haven't had the blessing of going to Israel and being in Galilee and on the edge of the sea, you can stand in one spot and you can look to your left and see that's where the synagogue was, where Jesus would have taught, would have cast out the demon, where he would have healed. And it's literally a baseball throw. You could throw a baseball from the synagogue to where Simon's mother-in-law, where Simon's house was. It's that close together. Be kind of like walking out of the front door of Brewster Baptist Church, and you don't even have to go as far as the Candleberry Inn next door. That's how close this is in proximity. I'm just going to read you, it's only 2 verses, so I'm going to read you them. After leaving the synagogue, he entered Simon's house. Now, Simon's mother-in-law was suffering from a high fever, and they asked him about her. Then he stood over her and rebuked the fever, and it left her. Immediately she got up and began to serve them. These 2 verses always make me smile for a couple reasons in particular. Our dear colleague Tom Swada, who faithfully is filming me today as he always does, is a devoted Roman Catholic. And I love to tease my Roman Catholic friends, and I do have many, about how can priests not be married when Peter, who's the one the Roman Catholic Church looks to as the guy, he's the man. And one of the very first healing miracles of Jesus is healing Simon's mother-in-law, which means he was married. These poor priests have been missing out on being married all these years. I don't understand. But anyway, the other thing that makes me smile is I think this is perhaps the most utilitarian and practical healing that Jesus does in any of the Gospels. Because they go to Simon's house. I know how I feel after preaching and teaching at a worship service. I come home and I'm hungry and I'm tired, right? And so here they come after worship, and well, who's going to make the meal if Simon's mother-in-law is sick? And so what do? Hey, Jesus, she's not feeling well. And Jesus goes in, rebukes the fever, and what does she do? She immediately gets up and began to serve them. And she, I'm sure, gave them lunch. How practical a miracle this is, right? So this is a verse, as I said, a passage, a little vignette or pericope, if you will, that makes me smile, both because we hear about the healing of Simon's mother-in-law, of all people, and healing her meant Jesus and the disciples could have brunch after worship. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes just reading a little story in the Bible can bring a smile to our face, and there's nothing wrong with that either.